This video is about treatment for child behavior problems. I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, child development, and education, all through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about how you can provide treatment for your own children. You may not know this about me, but for many years I did therapeutic treatment care for troubled children. I also raised 4 children of my own, and I'm a grandmother. So for many years, people have consulted with me about treatment issues, treatment plans related to their schools, related to their students, and related to their children. So today we're going to talk about treatment, what that means, and we're going to talk about how to provide a good treatment environment for your children at your house. Even though I was called a therapeutic treatment care parent, when I took in these troubled children into my home and I was helping them with their neurodiversities, relationship issues, their cognitive function issues, their trauma past, and a lot of their behaviors and things, I was technically assigned and employed to do treatment for these children. But I didn't really think of it that way. I loved them. I wanted them to feel loved and feel bonded with, especially because some of them had some difficult pasts, some hard things that they were overcoming. But I really thought of myself more as a teacher, which is more in alignment with the parental role. I wanted to be a parent teacher to them. I wanted to be somebody that they felt like was safe to learn from. And I wanted to see themselves as learners, which is the #1 role that a child has. Roles are so important that after I wrote my most popular book, Parenting a House United, years ago, I realized I needed to add to it by writing this book called Roles: The Secret to Family, Business, and Social Success. If a family does not understand their roles properly, then this can lead to family dysfunction. Instead of thinking in terms of treatment for your child, let's think in terms of living our roles properly. Usually, if everybody has a really solid understanding of who they are to each other within the family dynamic, then the relationships and the behaviors improve. If you think of yourself as a person who does treatment, you might think in terms of an occupation instead of an identity as a parent. And your child needs you to take on that identity as parent, #1, first and foremost. So what types of things should we be teaching our children, especially children who are struggling with really difficult behaviors? We need to be teaching them the basics first. Now, this whole channel is called the Teaching Self-Government channel. That is because everything that is here is directly related to teaching the children how to govern themselves. That means that the end goal is that they would be able to leave our home, leave our parenting, and they would be able to do things for themselves, such as setting goals, self-directing, self-motivating, giving themselves instructions and following through, keeping boundaries, giving themselves no answers, criticism, correcting themselves, accepting the consequences of life, discussing with other people in open and honest ways, and using skills like disagreeing appropriately. They would also know how to have good meetings with people and dialogue, even if you don't always get along with that person. And of course, they would learn how to do self-regulation when they're having especially difficult times. This sounds like a big list of things to try to accomplish. It may even seem like it's not possible, but I promise you it is, and it actually takes less time than you think, so long as you have a concrete plan. So when our family decided to do therapeutic treatment care for troubled children years ago, we decided at that point we couldn't just wing it. We had to have a set plan. And then as our own biological children grew and we were still doing that foster care, we had to have a plan that would work for all of the children, whether they were neurotypical, neurodiverse, strong-willed, not. we had to have a plan that would fit for the entire group to maintain our family goals, our family relationships, and help them grow and develop properly as well. This is how the teaching self-government parenting system came to be. Now, I learned some things from my training doing treatment care for other people, but I also developed some of the program myself. Once people started to see the change that would happen in these treatment children that would come to our home, they started asking us to teach about it. So these are the main things that you would need to do in your home in order to establish a really good treatment home or teaching home where you can be a good teacher because that's your role, and your children can really magnify that role of learner and accept the responsibility that they need to for their own behaviors, which is what a learner does. So you would start with determining what type of a family do we want to be, or what type of a relationship do we want to have for the future. In my TSG parenting course, I talk about creating a family vision, but you can also create a vision just for yourself for one aspect of your life. You can prepare yourself for the future, create a story, a picture in your mind that you want to accomplish, and point yourself toward. So you can do this on a one-on-one basis or with an entire group. I do recommend the entire group, and then having that vision for also the one-on-ones in your relationships as well within the family. The family develops a vision, they hold on to that, and then they start creating plans for what they will do to accomplish that vision in the future. This includes how they're going to solve their problems and discuss with each other. So we have to have a baseline of skill development for the whole entire group to hold on to. That baseline of skill development includes the 4 basic skills of self-government. So here's a big heft. Here are 11 books. I've written all of these books. We don't have time to talk about all of them. You can find out about these and other resources at teachingselfgovernment.com. But the ones that I want to hit on right now are these children's books. These children's books each teach one of the 4 basic skills to children, which are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. If a child learns these 4 basic skills, that takes care of 99% of their behavioral problems, and this lays the perfect foundation for whatever kind of learning, habit training, addiction recovery that they are going to need. A few minutes ago, before I started filming this video, I actually was looking through my email just really quickly while the crew was setting things up, and I had an email from somebody asking me to be on a podcast. This happens all the time, nothing unusual there, but this particular podcast happens to be for people who are overcoming sexual addictions, for their families, and they want to learn more about self-mastery and self-government. So do you see that no matter what circumstance you might be dealing with your child, whether you are overcoming something really difficult or whether you're just trying to fix one relationship that seems to be having a struggle, or maybe just get them to wake up on time, learning self-government is the foundation of it all, and many people know that. That's why they have me come and talk about self-government in a variety of different places. So those 4 basic skills are the beginning. We also need to lay a foundation for how the communication and the feedback within the family will happen. Once you understand your role in the family, which is very important to understand because that's your identity that you have, and it gives you a lot of peace and confidence to understand what role you carry within the family group. Once you understand that, then you can also embrace how the communication is going to happen within that role. If you're a child and one of your main parts of being a child is that your role is learner, then you have to be open to the learning. You need to be teachable all the time that you live in your parents' home. Now, of course, over time, the parent might do a little less teaching because the child reaches adolescence and they've learned all of these skills already and they're really good at self-government. If you're just starting and your child is already in their teen years, don't go through that graduation process to prepare them for adulthood. Start with those skills. You might have to almost treat them as if they're a little bit younger at first, get them into the skills and that type of development, and then move them toward, being able to launch into adulthood. Many times, 17-year-olds would come to our home. These 17-year-olds, we had to start at the very beginning, just like we would start with a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old. We would have to teach them those 4 basic skills and the 5 teaching styles that we would use to communicate with them. We would set goals, have regular checkups with our mentor sessions and our family meetings. We would make sure that we taught them problem-solving skills like the SOTAS exercise. We would help them develop standards by establishing a family standard and showing them how to follow through with standards for yourself. We set them up so that they could make decisions for their own life and feel very confident in that decision-making process. When a person is struggling with some of their behavior, one of the biggest things that they are actually dealing with is insecurity. They don't know how to handle their problem. They might have fear, frustration, or worry. So as a person who's trying to teach them or help them have a treatment type experience in your home, it's important to recognize that even though they're acting out at you, that could be a sign that there's some sort of insecurity on the inside, such as a fear. Probably they are having a thought in their head that is getting them in trouble. Maybe they keep hyper-focusing on the same thought and they don't let it go. One of the key things in teaching self-government is we learn how to drop the subject, how to just choose not to think about something anymore, to be done with it. A person is that powerful. You can push a thought away from your mind. 2 thoughts cannot occupy the same space at the same time within your head. This is why if you're thinking a bad thought and you suddenly start to sing a good song, you'd stop thinking about the bad thought and it's gone. So if you're having a thought that's occurring that is causing a problem for you, maybe it's a disrespectful thought, a selfish thought, a mean thought, whatever it is, you need to identify what that is and then decide how you will replace it. This is something that you can help your children with, especially if they're dealing with things that they need habit training for or they're trying to overcome addictions. Doing treatment in your own home with your own child takes a lot of work, but it's honestly just good parenting. Every single parent is engaged in teaching and treating their children, and you are the very best person for that responsibility. There is nobody that can do it with the same love and attachment that your child needs. Nobody that can do it better than you. If you know that you're struggling with your own self-government, then I'm here to help you. In fact, on my website, teachingselfgovernment.com, I have a free Calm Parenting Toolkit that is a beginner course with 10 tools for calmness. This will get you started on your journey towards self-government. It won't teach you everything for sure. It's just a beginner course, but it's free and it's a great way to get started. So go to teachingselfgovernment.com today and get the Calm Parenting Toolkit and get started on your road to self-government.